Hi, Ballpark Frank here with Chuck Liddell, the Iceman, just before UFC 81 at the Mandalay Bay, where the flying fishies play, as Don King likes to say. But you know what? This is my favorite sport, MMA world out there. Now, you can see the UFC 81, and that, of course, is Saturday night here at Mandalay Bay. But, Chuck, even with the big fight card coming up, you still managed to be on the front page of the MMA world because your new book, Iceman, My Fighting Life, is out right now. You can see some copies right here. Look at that guy right there. He's staring down at you. He looks a little bit mean. You look a little bit more pleasant right now today.
Always a lot nicer when I'm not fighting.
Now, when it comes to the brand new book, Iceman, My Fighting Life, it's kind of like a tell-all book. I mean, you don't really hide stuff. You say what's out there. You tell a couple of little secrets there, and I know one of them is, and I'd actually heard this before because I believe you mentioned it before, you paint your toenails.
Yeah, I do. Paint my toenails. They're blue and white right now, but carrot. I just came from New York, so I didn't bring any flip-flops. It's getting cold out there.
And now, what started that?
You know, honestly, it was a lot of the guys at the gym were doing them all black, and they were trying to talk me into it, and I never did. And I was at a mall doing... my girlfriend at the time was getting her pedicure. She said, why don't you get one? Your feet are gross, you know. All right, so I got.
And if the lady says do it, then you got to do it.
Sure, why not? It was either that or just sit there and watch her get them done, so why not? And the lady at the end was like, hey, so what color do you want? And just laughed. And I'm like, well, actually, you know what? Let's paint it black. And then right before she was doing it, I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to give it all away, but can you make the big toe pink on both of them? And we did it, took pictures of it, sent it to my friends, and you know, just forgot about it. Next week I went to the Georgia game and I was hanging out with all the guys and I had my flip-flops on and people kept going like this. And I just stand there and look down. They look up and look at you like, what the? And then they realize they're looking at me funny and then they go, and they walk off. and it was just, it made me laugh and the reactions I got from the whole, I didn't realize, it took me a while to figure it out that I forgot to have my toenails.
Right.
I don't know why, I'm like, what are these people doing? You know, like, oh. You know, okay, I got it. But the reactions I get from people are probably the reason I kept doing it after that. I've done it ever since.
Now, like I said, the new book, Iceman, My Fighting Life, is out now. It's available in stores. You can probably get it online at different places. One of the things in there, I know that all MMA fighters, or most MMA fighters, have massive respect for almost all the other guys in the sport.
Yes.
When you get in that cage or the ring or whatever you're getting in, I mean, you're getting down and you know the training that this guy goes through and you do the same.
Yeah.
One guy that you don't have a lot of respect for.
Yeah.
Well,
of course, we covered it. I covered plenty of times as we've gone through it a lot. But
right.
Yeah, me and Tito, I just don't consider him a real fighter. You know, he's just not a guy. I mean, he's tough. He can do his thing, but he's just not. Well, actually, I don't know how tough he is. He's skilled, but you know, it's one of those things. He's not. He tries to dodge people, tries to pick and choose fighters and fights who he fights and.
Like Ken Shamrock 3 times.
Right, and that's not why our sport's great. Our sport's great because the best guys fight the best guys, so you get great matchups, so you get great fights. And that's why you know, the fans get what they pay for when they come watch the UFC. So that's, you know, he'd rather fight just whoever he thinks he can beat.
Now, after your first fight with Tito, which I'd like to thank you for because it's one of the few fights I actually made money on, so, but after your first fight with Tito, you had an interesting celebration after that. According to the book,
yeah,
you had a little liaison with 4 or 5 ladies, and apparently you prefer doing some radio phone interviews more than like this video stuff because of what you were doing.
All I can say is that there's no reason to schedule a 6 o'clock in the morning radio interview the day after fight because I'm either sleeping or doing something, and they don't. And
you have the after parties and you're celebrating.
They're interrupting something. So it was kind of funny though.
Chuck Liddell,
I forgot all about it. It was Canadian press. They were laughing the whole time. Whatever.
Chuck Liddell, the Iceman here, doing the interview live at Mandalay Bay, and of course UFC 81 coming up here as well. I want to get into this. Kurt Angle, the former WWE wrestler, now TNA wrestler, apparently he has said that he would like to take a punch from Chuck Liddell. Now, Kurt was a legitimate wrestler before he got into the professional wrestling ranks. Does he really want to take a punch from you? Because I've seen you throw that overhand right.
Yeah, you know, if he wants to, I'll be more than happy to oblige. But
4-ounce gloves, not exactly a lot of cushion there.
Yeah, there's not a lot of cushion, but you know, I mean, he wants to. I mean, but people just don't realize that don't punch, don't do it. I mean, I don't know. I don't think he has any MMA background or kind of boxing background. They don't punch. They don't realize how hard we hit. He's probably been punched by his buddies and thinks that's getting hit hard.
Right.
You know, it's just different when you're a trained fighter. Guys with one punch knockout powers is another thing. And there's not a lot of guys with that. And it's just it's a lot of power. It's a lot of power to get hit with.
Talking about from professional wrestlers, and certainly the guy here on UFC 81, Brock Lesnar, everybody knows about him. Great collegiate wrestler.
Yeah.
Then did the other stuff.
But I'm not looking at him as a guy coming from WWE.
Exactly.
Into MMA. He's coming from college wrestling into MMA. So what you got to look at is what has he been doing since college to get ready since college wrestling to get ready for fighting. What has he done in his background? Maybe something he did before. Like me, I came out of college wrestling. I've been doing martial arts my whole life. I started doing kickboxing. So, I mean, I don't know what his background is. So it's hard for me to tell you. But it sounds in all his interviews like he's been doing the stuff to make the crossover. And I'm just actually excited that he actually picked a guy, you know, that's no joke. To come
Definitely, Frank Mir, former
champion, tough guy, good submission guy. And you know he could have came in the UFC and played 3, 4, 5 fights, trying to fight some guys that you know shouldn't be fighting them. You know, he could have taken some easy fights, probably used it or gone into MMA and used his name to fight a bunch of tomato cans. You know, he uses WWE name to fight tomato cans, but he decided to come. He used his name to get on a main card and be one of the headliners. You know, but he picked a headliner fight. You know, he picked someone who's a real fighter.
Chuck the Iceman Liddell was here, live from the Mandalay Bay just before UFC 81, and of course promoting his new book, Iceman, My Fighting Life. The one thing that I find interesting about the MMA world is, you know, you have a loss and everybody writes you off. You have a victory and all of a sudden you're the #1 contender again. It seems a little bit different than boxing and that kind of stuff. I've always enjoyed watching you fight. You know, you knocked out Randy Couture, people said you couldn't be beat. Then you had a couple losses and people said, oh, he's over the hill. Now you beat Mandalay Silva in one of the most exciting, fun fights that I've ever seen, and you're right back in the mix again. Who would you like to, I mean, obviously I'm assuming that you want the winner of Jackson and Forrest Griffin.
Yeah, I want the winner of Jackson and Forrest Griffin, but I'm not going to wait for that. I'm going to fight somebody else in the summer.
Oh, and you need a tune-up anyhow. You can't wait around for them.
I can't wait. That's what I'm saying. I can't wait that long.
Who would you like to fight?
You know, I'd like another shot at Jardine to show that was a fluke, and people have talked about me fighting Shogun too, but that'd be fun. I don't think that'd be too bad.
All right, now look at this guy right here on this poster, looking mean, looking bad. If you were to look across that guy in the ring or in the octagon, what would you do against you? I mean, would you kick your own ass or would he beat you? I mean, what would you do? Because you're so mild and calm now.
That'd be a great fight. You punching each other a lot.